This screencast is about the 5 rules for designing an effective in-person PowerPoint presentation. When I say in-person, I mean a traditional presentation where you're projecting the presentation on a screen in front of an audience, whether they're students in the classroom or colleagues at the office. The main idea of all of the rules is to help you make choices in designing the PowerPoint that enhance your audience's ability to grasp the content you're presenting to them. So, going to our first rule, rule number 1, is called the 6x6 rule, and what that says is that no slide should have any more than 6 lines of text and no more than 6 words per line. Oh, but wait! Don't those lines have 7 words? Well, yeah, they do, actually. But it's okay. Of and per don't count. I mean, really they do, but it's just not something to be militant about. It's just not a big deal. And if you need more lines, guess what? You can just add a new slide, and there you go. Look, there we've got Mr. Hitler, too. You can just add a new slide. But like I said, it's not something to be militant about. We don't need to be Hitler about it all. If, you have that if you just have to have that 7th line, or you have, a 7th small word, it's going to be okay. But if you follow the 6x6 rule, you won't end up with too much text on your slide. You won't overwhelm your audience with text. Mix up the text with the visuals. See our visuals here. We've got the Mr. Hitler, we've got the table. So, I mean, it's important to mix visuals with text, and 6x6 will guide you true. Rule number 2, wow, we've got a big font size there, is font size. And basically, we're going to say that we believe, covering up images, we're going to believe that size matters. So let's change our font size in here from 96 to 12 and just see what that looks like. It's not cooperating. So this is what 12-point font looks like. It's really hard to read, right? Like, not easy to see. So, nope. So let's go back to 32. Keep clicking off. So your audience is really going to appreciate it if you use a reasonable font size. It's just not that hard. And you can use a really big font size for emphasis. We can go back here to 96 and looky there, that's emphasizing size. If we want to see what 24-point looks like, there's 24. That's about as small as you should go. We don't want to get smaller than 24-point. So rule number 2, don't go smaller than 24-point font size. So moving on to rule number 3, text to background contrast. So I'm going to right click here and go into the font colors, and I'm going to choose gray. And it's really pretty, but this is really hard to read, right? Not easy at all. And so if I change it back, if I change it back to black, I think we all like this better, right? I mean, it's just easier to read. And if you go into design, they have all sorts of different, that's not what I meant to do. There we go, we're back on the right page. If you go into design, we can look at all these different colors that they have. They have green, green background with white text. They have red with white. They have gray with lighter gray. Some really pretty things. But it's just important to make sure that your text to background contrast is good. If you want to make any changes to, if you choose a theme and it's not exactly the way you want it, you can go into View Master, Slide Master, and you can make changes. Like I could change this to Bell. Restart later. Excuse that. So you can change your font or your style or your size or anything like that. And if you do it in the Slide Master, it'll do it to every single one of your slides. So anyway, going back to normal and going up here and choosing our normal background. Just remember, good text to background contrast, black on white. Dark and light tend to be better. I mean, it just tends to be better when it's dark to light. Rule number 4 says that is about serif versus sans serif fonts. So as you can see, I'm going to choose a font called Blackadder, and it is a seriously serif font, right? Excuse me, seriously serif font. And it's pretty, and it's cool, but it's not easy to read. It's hard to read. So if I go up here and I choose my Calibri again and type in that, you can see here that sans serif is way easier to read, and that's because research shows that when we project text with light, the light blurs the text. So the way serif fonts also connect the letters is just kind of too much of a good thing, because the serif letters, like in Blackadder up here, they have the tags on the end that connect the letters, and so with the light blurring and the tags, it's just too much. So sans serif fonts without the tags are just better. They're simpler. It's easier to read. So that's about it on rule number 4. Use sans serif. They're easier to read when you are projecting with light. And then rule number 5 says that we want to do everything in our PowerPoint, all the choices we make in our PowerPoint, we want them to enhance our content. This is really the most important rule because it's just very important to enhance your content. So on the good list, we can insert all sorts of visuals, pictures, diagrams, all sorts of a chart. We can put in a little chart. They're a little charty here and kind of shrink it to fit. And that's good. That'll help our audience understand whatever we're talking about. But on the less good list, let's close up our slide design. On the less good list, if we go into slideshow and custom animations, you know, there are lots of ways to add emphasis to your slideshow and have words appear. But you know, here we have our wheel wheeling in, and we can have, actually, let's go select zoom, and we'll have zoom in. How very clever of me. So, oh look, it zoomed in. Random bars, I bet it's going to random bars in. So there you see it random barring. And these are just distracting. They just don't really, do much of anything useful. The appear animation is really the simplest, cleanest one, and that's the important thing. Keeping things simple, keeping things clean. Along with animations, you can also put in transitions, and there are lots of crazy transitions. Just look. You know, another thing about transitions and animations is that usually it's good to choose one and stick with it so that your audience isn't like, what exciting animation or transition is coming next? Because that's going to keep them from concentrating on your content. So really the most important thing is, you know, don't distract your audience from your content. So in summary, we have our 5 rules for effective in-person PowerPoint presentations. 1 is the 6x6 rule. Don't have more than 6 lines of text or 6 words per line. 2, don't use a font size smaller than 24 point. 3, choose colors that contrast well for your text and background. 4, choose a sans serif font without the tags. 5, everything in your design should enhance your PowerPoint, not distract your audience. So thank you so much for listening, and hopefully the next PowerPoint you do will be highly effective.